The school system is training successful performers, but at the cost of students' health. In the last video, I talked about the impact teachers can have on our lives. The right teacher can guide you towards confidence, growth, and success, while the wrong teacher can damage your self-esteem and even influence your future in negative ways. Today I want to talk about something bigger. How the modern school system is designed to produce students who always know the right answer, never fail, and constantly strive for perfection. Over the years, we've seen a dramatic rise in discussions about mental health, whether it's because of this digital age that we live in, where information is always available at our fingertips, or because society has become more open about discussing burnout, anxiety, and depression. But one thing is clear, mental health is becoming a growing concern for younger generations. While it's good that we're having these conversations, we're still seeing mental health continue to decline. And I can confidently say that the modern school system is doing very little to help students feel healthier, more empowered, and more supported. The rise of artificial intelligence has revealed something interesting. AI can complete many of the repetitive assignments students are given in a matter of seconds. That raises an important question. If these tasks can be automated so easily, how valuable are they really? Instead of encouraging creativity, critical thinking, or problem solving, many assignments simply train students to repeat information and just follow instructions. And that leads to a larger issue. The school system often trains students to become perfect little machines, and it's costing them their health. Let's start with the elephant in the room, homework. In most jobs, employees work a set number of hours. When their shift is over, they go home, they rest, spend time with family, pursue hobbies, or simply enjoy their lives. Students, however, are often expected to continue working long after the school day ends. Many students spend 6 to 8 hours in school. Then they go home and spend additional hours studying, completing assignments, and preparing for tests. Sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, and sometimes even more. If a student spends 8 hours in school and then another 6 hours on school-related work at home, that's 14 hours of work in a single day. No wonder so many students feel exhausted, anxious, stressed, and burned out. What's even more concerning is that there is often no system in place to monitor how much time students are spending on homework or whether they are getting enough rest. School should be an important part of a student's life, but it should not become their entire life's priority. Everyone deserves time to relax, pursue personal interests, and simply be human. The second issue is the expectation that students should function like computers. The education system often creates the impression that students should be productive, focused, and efficient all the time. Yes, schools acknowledge that breaks are important, but in practice, many students receive very little meaningful downtime. Children and teenagers are not machines, yet the system often treats them as if they are products moving through an assembly line. Students spend years learning how to behave, how to speak, how to work, how to perform according to specific standards, and at the end of the day, the goal often seems to be producing the perfect student. But human beings are not supposed to be perfect. Humans make mistakes. They are unpredictable. They think differently. They bring creativity, emotion, and individuality into the world. Those qualities are not flaws, they are strengths. Sometimes it feels like schools suppress these human qualities instead of celebrating them. Ironically, while technology companies are racing to build increasingly advanced machines, schools often expect students to already behave like them, like machines, always productive, always efficient, always working, and never resting. The third issue is the way schools treat mistakes. Throughout my experience in different educational systems, I have noticed that students are constantly encouraged to avoid failure at all costs. Grades, tests, and evaluation often creates this impression that making mistakes is something shameful. When students fail, they may receive poor grades, negative feedback, disappointment, or criticism. Over time, this teaches them to associate failure with fear. But failure is not the enemy of success. In fact, failure is one of the most important parts of growth. When we fail, we learn what doesn't work. We discover our weaknesses, we gain experience, and we improve. Every mistake is an opportunity to reflect, adapt, and try again. Failure should not be viewed as something to avoid at all costs. It should be viewed as a natural and valuable part of learning. Without failure, there is no growth. Without mistakes, there is no progress. So what needs to change? These issues are only a few examples of what's wrong with the current education system, but they highlight a common problem. Schools often measure success in outdated ways. Students shouldn't be taught that resting is lazy. They shouldn't be taught that failure is unacceptable, and they certainly shouldn't be taught that being human is a weakness. One solution would be to seriously reconsider homework and the workload. Schools should focus on meaningful work that can be completed during school hours whenever possible, rather than pushing large amounts of work into students' personal time. At the same time, schools need to recognize that people learn differently. Yes, some students understand the concept immediately and others need more time, and some thrive in traditional classrooms while others learn best through hands-on experiences or alternative approaches. Education should not force everyone to fit into the same mold. Instead, it should encourage students to discover their strengths and find different paths towards understanding success. Most importantly, schools should never create a culture where students are afraid to fail. Making mistakes is part of being human. It isn't always pleasant, but it often is very necessary. Every failure is an opportunity to learn, grow, and become better than we were before. The road to success has never been a straight line. It is built on trial and error, setbacks and comebacks, lessons and growth. And that is something the education system needs to remember. I believe the school system wants to create successful people, but right now it often feels like it's creating successful performers instead. Students learn how to meet expectations, pass tests, and appear productive, yet many are left feeling exhausted, burnt out, anxious, and disconnected from the joy of learning. If we want future generations to thrive, we need to stop defining success as perfection. Success is not about failing, it's not about working endlessly, and it's not about becoming a machine. Real success is about learning, growing, adapting, and becoming a healthier version of yourself. And until the education system embraces that idea, it will continue producing students who know how to perform, but struggle to live.